Welcome to Tangled and Splattered, where sometimes we just blow it while we're painting. Today's inspiration is those terrible weeds that grow rampant and all suburban homes are horrified of: dandelions. I remember feeling so magical as a kid picking the dandelions that went to seed and blowing the seeds. It was like creating new life. The vision of it in my head is so beautiful, but now, as an adult, I cringe at the sight of dandelions. I'm sure my parents did not feel magical when I was blowing those dandelion seeds all over the yard. Painting them still gives me that same magical feeling I had when I was a kid, though. Our materials today are gouache paint, colors for the palette, and the colors used in the description are below. We are using watercolor paper, frog tape, masking fluid, and some tools, a metal straw, and finish it off with some acrylic markers. I've done this a lot of different ways in the past, but today we're going to start with masking fluid. The idea here is that you put down the masking fluid and then you paint over the masking fluid. And when it's removed, you'll have white dots in place of the dandelion seeds. So I have these tools that have different size heads, and I'm just dipping these tools into the masking fluid and then using that tool to leave the dots on the page. It is important to let the masking fluid dry completely before moving on to the next part, which is, of course, adding the paint. The way I like to make these big splatters is to bubble up a lot of water and color, adding pigment until I'm just sick of it. And with a nice large colorful bubble on the page and a straw, I will blow it. And you'll see the paint splatters all over in such a beautiful way. This is really fun to do with watercolor, and I wanted to try it with this highly pigmented gouache paint and see how it turned out. I have so much fun, and it makes such a mess when I paint like this. Now that I have my designated art space, I'm much more prone to have fun and just enjoy the mess. Of course, I filled up my space for recording video and missed the whole section where I recorded the first 3 colors of these dandelions. After making some more space and getting back to recording, you can see that I'm now trying to create some symmetry with the placement of the colors on the 2 different dandelions. Many of my paintings, I'll usually just have 1 dandelion, but today I wanted 2 dandelions so that they could be friends. You will also notice that I love painting with the colors of the rainbow. I like seeing how they mix on the paper with watercolor and more recently the gouache or gouache. And I just love how every color really adds something beautiful to the painting. So here, generally, I'll also start with yellow since it's the lightest color and most likely to get covered up with one of the darker colors. So I try to make the yellow nice and big and bold, so some yellow will still show through in the end after adding all of the other colors. Then I'll move on to the other warms, orange and red, and lastly I'll move on to the cool colors, the blue, green, and purple. After we have blown out all of the colors that we want for our dandelion, we need to decide what color we want the center and the stem to be. I really wanted to make the stem this bright color using pink, but I really just didn't end up liking how it looked. So I went ahead, I tried using the pink, I let it dry up, and eventually we will peel the tape off of the edges, but when I looked at it, it felt like it blended in too much with the other colors. It didn't really let the rainbow color stand out and shine through. So then I took a minute to think about, after it dried, what did I want it to look like? So here we have that nice tape peel, and also, before we move on, we will remove the masking fluid to reveal all of those dandelion seeds underneath. I couldn't find my tool anywhere. I used to keep all my materials on a shelf, but I moved it to my art cart after setting up my art corner, and I couldn't find it anywhere. It's like a little eraser, super gummy, and it feels weird, but it works really well to take off that masking fluid. Because I couldn't find it, I decided to use the same tools I used to place the masking fluid to remove it. It wasn't very efficient. And of course, I found the stinking masking fluid eraser thing a few days after painting this. I was pretty sad about that. I would have loved to use it for this recording, but now I know where it is for next time. Anyhow, after removing all of the masking fluid remnants, I decided I wasn't happy with the density or the number of seeds. So this is where I decide to use some white acrylic markers to add more dots. I could have kept with the gouache paint, but decided to use the acrylic markers since I was already using them and I thought it would be a bit easier than using paint brushes. Next, I decided to go back over the stem with an acrylic marker after it dried because I really just didn't love how the pink stem and leaves looked. So for that, I started with a black acrylic marker, but then I really didn't like how that looked either because it felt too dark. So after I'm done with that, I decided to go and add a gold border and see how I would like it to look after that. But ultimately decided the black was still just too dark. So for the leaves, I decided to go over it with some more silver acrylic marker. And then I decided to add some of that silver acrylic marker to the dandelion seeds because I really like the sparkle or the shine of it. So you can see how this painting, even with the plans that we had, took lots of turns from what I had planned in my head to what it turned into. Ultimately, I really love how bright and pigmented this painting is. And when we're happy, we're done. So if you enjoyed watching me just absolutely blow it with this video, please give me a like. If you are excited to see how we crochet a tote bag without any patterns in the next video, please subscribe. Thanks as always for following along.